Hey guys, welcome back to CLOWNFISH TV. This is Kneon. We're going to talk about Disney's Star Wars and their tendency to borrow inspiration, take stuff from the fandom. I guess there are allegations about plagiarism with Disney Star Wars. Now, we've been hearing about this for a couple of years now, that some of the folks over at Lucasfilm tend to take inspiration from fan creations or other media when adding to the Borg-like cube that is the Disney Empire. This is really nothing new, and I'll talk about that a little bit later in the video, but I'm going to point you to this article over at Bleeding Fool from our friend Ichibaka that Disney continues a pattern of serial plagiarism with Star Wars. He's found a couple of examples, and we're going to pull up some of the previous examples. I don't think we've ever really talked about it at length on CLOWNFISH TV, but there are multiple examples of alleged fan art or other fan creations being absorbed into the mouse, the cube of the mouse here. So Disney continues a pattern of serial plagiarism. So here are some of the previous examples. Accusations arose that specific elements from The Last Jedi screenplay were plagiarized from fan fiction. New accusations arose that editing techniques in The Last Jedi were plagiarized from Escape from LA. That was discovered that the crystal foxes may have been lifted from a Polish artist, and artist seems to have been plagiarized in character posters for Solo. Yeah, I do remember that one. I do remember that the Solo posters were effectively knockoffs of these album covers, Sony Music Legacy compilations. Now, it's interesting we talk about Sony because Sony themselves has borrowed, I'm using air quotes here, borrowed fan art for different promotions and whatnot, but that's a totally different video. An identical editing sequence for the throne room sequence was found in The Wizard of Oz. That might be an homage. A scene from Ella Enchanted was found which seemed to lift costumes and choreography. Why are you lifting from that? Almost identical artwork seems to be republished in the Star Wars Imperial Handbook written by Daniel Wallace. What's this one about? This is a guy named Mark Rates. If you really want to piss me off, then steal my art, use it as an official Topps card set, and pretend it's your own. As if to irritate me even further, it's clear all this genius is trace badly my comp flipping it. That would make it okay. So this is his original art. Wow. Yeah, that's pretty damning. We saw this with a poster for The Rise of Skywalker. They actually used a toy of Darth Sidious, of Palpatine, and they used it and they photoshopped over it and made it part of the Rise of Skywalker poster. So this does seem to be a trend with Lucasfilm. What are some of the others that we have here? More similarities between the throne room sequence of The Last Jedi and Casino Royale. Ships and characters in Star Wars Resistance seem to have been copied from other designs. I have heard about this one, that there are a lot of, designs that have been copied or inspired Resistance. Resistance, which to me looked like, I didn't watch a whole lot of it, but it did look like Oban Star Racers more than Star Wars. Some suggested the Razor from The Mandalorian was a ripoff of Nell. The Thai Dorito has been lifted from fan artist E.C. Henry. So this artist had updated designs for the First Order TIE Bomber, and that's what actually appeared in the comic. I've heard about that before, that the comic has, the comic books actually are using a lot of fan designed ships and whatnot. Again, this is where it gets sticky with Disney. This is where it gets sticky with Disney, because this is not, unique just to Star Wars. Disney has in the past actually gone out to sites like Etsy, and they've actually found fan designs for t-shirts and artwork and whatever, and they've actually made official merchandise that's very, very similar to what has been proven popular on some of these websites. We've actually seen designs in the Disney stores and the theme parks that are like, oh my gosh, this is one that looks like it came from Etsy. This does seem to happen. Here, I mean, you could just do a search for Etsy art, stolen Etsy art on Disney. Here we have Alice in Wonderland artwork by Katie Woodger being stolen by Disney for a bag, a cosmetic bag. I thought they were panties at first, but a bag. Disney stole my artwork. This has happened multiple times at Disney. Now, this isn't specifically about Disney, but Disney has taken inspiration, sometimes directly taken artwork from Etsy sellers. Now, here's where it gets sticky. Because Disney technically owns those characters, and because Disney is such a large organization, it's almost impossible for an individual artist, fan artist, to fight them. Disney has some of the most tenacious lawyers in the world, and it's going to be very, very hard for just some Etsy seller to go after Disney for poaching their designs. But this is a common thing. Now, you're talking about a company that churns out thousands and thousands of pieces of product and images probably per month for various things across the theme parks and the movies and licensed IP. The people that work there are probably pretty desperate to come up with new ideas all the time, and Disney's expected to be creative all the time. So it would not surprise me if some people at Lucasfilm are taking shortcuts because their job depends on being creative, coming up with new stuff, and what are you going to do about it? I mean, the fans complain. You're basically making Star Wars stuff, and Disney owns Star Wars, so the judge would even be like, they didn't really steal anything. They technically own Star Wars anyway, and if anything, they could come back on you and say you had no right to make fan Star Wars stuff. So it's a really sticky situation. But here's some more examples of fan designs being lifted by Disney Star Wars, Disney Lucasfilm. Eckert's Ladder reports on the Juggernaut from Fractal Sponge that was used in a Star Wars role-playing game supplement. Okay, so here's the Juggernaut, and then more fan art right here. There it is, and it's damn near identical, isn't it? I know some of these videos that really delve into it are, even being like they're lifting some of the idiosyncrasies from fan art. We've seen it in the comics where ship designs have been lifted. Here are the tanks. This is a Republic gunship. So yeah, if this is his original, they're lifting it. This is going on. This just continues on and on and on. Siege cannon from The Last Jedi lifted from The Last Airbender. Here's the drill from The Last Airbender. Very good series, if you remember that. The giant drill. And the super laser siege cannon from The Last Jedi. Basically the same scene. Now, again, you could argue it's an homage. You could. And you really can't, trademark this concept or anything, or trust me, Disney would do it. Actually, if somebody else came up with a super laser siege cannon in another IP, Disney would probably sue them, even though they probably boosted the idea from Avatar. But there you go. Now, the Thala Siren, the walrus alien lady that Luke Skywalker questionably milks. Apparently, she has her origins in this other meme that was going around, this other piece of Dutch artwork, which, believe it or not, I've never seen it. I'd never seen this Dutch artwork, but apparently it was popular a couple of years ago. It was making the rounds. Would have been about the time that they were working on The Last Jedi, 2016 or so. So there we have this milky lady. And then we have this. This is a sculpture entitled Homunculus Luxodontusa, created by Dutch artist Margriet van Brevoort in 2016. Looks very familiar. Missing some nipples, though. This piece of art needs more boobs. Here's a description of the sculpture. Actually started as a sculpture created by this Dutch artist. The drooping creature with glazed eyes was installed in front of a children's hospital. Yeah, that makes me feel better. My kid's sick, and I gotta look at this thing. The point, according to the artist, is that it sits there waiting. It's intended to cheer up tired patients stuck waiting for their turn for care, in spite of the fact that it looks like a weird cross between an elephant seal and the Pillsbury Doughboy. I would not feel better having this thing sit next to me. Then the lumpy creature started showing up in meme form on Russian social media. Blame the Russians. Oh, is that where the Russian bots came from, maybe? And there it took on a life of its own in Russia. He's known as Zudun. In Ukraine, he's known as Puchikun, says Damian Sharkov, Newsweek reporter who focuses on Russia. One Russian newspaper declared Zudun's Russia's new national symbol. But why? So wait a second. If he's the new symbol, they are the new symbol of Russia, did Rian Johnson putting this creature into The Last Jedi have kind of a hidden subtext? I don't know. I'm sure there's going to be all kinds of conspiracy theories because, you know, people who didn't like The Last Jedi were Russian bots, according to the media. Yeah, it's pretty creepy thing. There he is sitting here in Ukrainian parliament. Oh my God. I didn't see any of this. So here's the thing. They're going to keep doing it, because they're cranking out so much content. You know, they need the fans to keep giving them ideas, because I think they're kind of running out of ideas. But we've seen this time and time again. And they keep getting called out for it, but what are you going to do? You know, what are you going to do? Here's the fan design. Here's the original. There's not much yeah, look at this. Even the front end and everything is identical. Yeah, they keep doing it. There's not much recourse that anybody has, though. I mean, there really isn't, because you're creating you're making a fan creation of something that Disney owns. Now, I'm not a lawyer, but I do know that Disney is very aggressive when it comes to their IP. I mean, this is not the first time they've done this. They've done it in various capacities for various branches of the company, and there are people that actually are lawyered up and have representation, and they lose to Disney all the time. You know, it's a tough thing. But just to be aware, if you make a fan creation, you put it out on the internet, and it's supposed to be a Star Wars thing or you know, a Marvel thing or whatever, there is a damn good chance that creatively bankrupt Disney could swipe your idea. And they could swipe it and use it in their comics or use it in their video games, because they're desperate for creativity. That's something that Disney is running out of in modern times. So I'm going to wrap this one up. You can go out and check this article out on Bleeding Fool. I'm not going to link to it, because it seems like when I link to articles, our videos get struck. I don't know why, but we'll talk to you guys later. Hey guys, thanks for watching Clownfish TV. Please consider supporting the channel. Go to clownfishsupport.com. That's clownfishsupport.com. And if you want to join our community, go to clownfishtalk.com. That's clownfishtalk.com. Please subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. We will talk to you next time.